Welcome to the bold analysis. The tendency of Kenya playing a victim card, and especially the Kenya Kwanza administration playing or rather attacking the messenger when governance queries are raised, is the new modus operandi to evade accountability. And I think the public must be very wary of this trend. And I just want to tell you, a report by United Nations is actually backing previous allegations by Rigathi. And this is an eye-opener, just repeating what I've been saying in this channel, that whenever something is raised, those who don't want the country to talk about it will be quick to tell you that Rigathi is saying that because he's bitter, Rigathi is saying that because he's tribal, Rigathi is saying that because of this and that. But I've been repeating and insisting in this channel that it is a high time for the country and the media to question, to probe, to interrogate when such allegations arise. And I want to demonstrate to you the whole story about that UN report and why I think we must change tact as a country. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for your support. We do this each and every day because of your support. You need to subscribe to The Bold because here we go beyond the headline. We package it in depth so that you get every perspective of our analysis. So subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. Tuesday afternoon, better part of Tuesday afternoon, Parliament took time attacking the former Deputy President Rigathi through a motion of adjournment that was actually brought by Junet Mohammed. And we were shocked that while there's so many things happening, the members of the parliament would only take time and would only single out Rigathi as the man they want to discuss the whole day. And in my own perspective, it was just one of the ways of diverting attention. But in that house, there was that one gentleman. There was that one man. That man is not from Mount Kenya. That man is not from Mombasa. That man is not from anywhere except Funyola. Wilberforce Odour, Funyola Member of Parliament, made a statement in reactionary to that I would want you to listen to.
To accept the truth, reality, and leave the talk. Honorable Speaker, democracy is a process. Democracy is not an event. Honorable Speaker, an election is not conducted on the day of the election. It is a process. Honorable Speaker, many of us were here in 1992 when there were clashes after elections. Many of us were here in 2007, 2008 when the clashes happened. Honorable Speaker, and all those times, Honorable Speaker, they arose because our members were dissatisfied with the process leading to the final outcome. Honorable Speaker, I will be reluctant to bash anybody who raises a red flag. Honorable Speaker, a forewarned is a foreprepared. It is very insensitive for anybody in this country to believe that anybody who raises anything that could make better the management of the next election becomes a point to bash left, right, and center. Honorable Speaker, the danger we make in this country is to kill the messenger, hoping the message will go away. It is important we must listen. Even if the devil is talking to us, Honorable Speaker, allow the Kenyans to listen. There are obviously grievances. In the last election 2022, the charade that was Cherera for, I don't know, this category, is a matter, Honorable Speaker, should never be allowed to repeat in a decent and democratic country like Kenya. Honorable Speaker, therefore, as we debate here today, as we waste very important hours of parliament, that could have debated more important things, more important matters, talking about somebody who is a political entity, as the guys on the other side are talking about.
Let's listen.
Honorable Speaker, we must learn from history. Henry Kissinger said, a nation and its leaders that does not learn from history is in danger of spiraling into anarchy. Honorable Speaker, it will be unfair. It will be like putting an ostrich hiding his head in the sand, believing that what happened in 2007, 2008 cannot happen in this country, Honorable Speaker. We are misleading ourselves. We are lying to ourselves. Let us not kill the message. Let's not kill the messenger, hoping the message will go away. Let's prepare for the next elections properly, adequately, and sufficiently to avoid any point anybody anywhere will feel that the election have not been held in a fair, transparent, and verifiable manner. The election, the appointment of managers of election, Kivuitu said he did not know who won the election. We went into war. If Baba Raila Amolo Odinga did not restrain himself in 2022, when the Cherera said said this was not an election properly done, we would have done into abyss. I beseech you, I beseech the country, please remember the message, regard the messenger. You have already killed the messenger. I'm so surprised that men are running helter-scared of one single man who has got no vote, who has nothing. Men, style up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes. And, you know, I'm not a prophet, but as I normally say, is our podcast, we take the conversations that matter to Mwananchi. What Wilberforce Oundo has spoken has been a dominant call in this podcast. And not twice, not thrice. I've always appeared before the camera and I've always told you that it is high time for Kenya, the public, the media, the civil society, to interrogate. I know Rigathi Gachagua, it is true, it is bitter. And of course, even if it were you, you can be bitter. And it's bitter that he formed this government and he was edged out. But behind the narrative that he is bitter, what is he raising? What he is raising against the regime? Is it something that should worry us? And let's look at the first example. Rigathi made allegation when he was being interviewed by KTN, and he said that there is some illicit transaction between Kenya and Sudan, and he's thriving on how Kenya is being used as a transit of arms going to Sudan.
To invite a vice president of a country, you say you cannot. I said out. This man has international sanctions against him. This is a man who is butchering women and children, Mr. President. I'm a Christian. I'm a father. I will not do it. I went. Right alone, I learned my signature was forged to invite him. I went, I faced the president. I told him, if this man lands in this country on an invitation purportedly signed by me, I would disown him. So the visit was stood down. And then he told me, well, Taniona, I am tired of you. You are a very difficult character. You are the worst mistake I've made in my 35 years of politics. I regret having nominated you as my deputy. You are a very difficult character. I am president. I'm telling you to do, and you say you are blackmailing me that you are going to disown the letter. I refused. I want to say this. For the deaths occurring in Sudan, the real commander of RSF is not Hemeti, it's William Ruto, because for a movement to succeed, it needs money. The money from gold is being cleaned through Kenya to buy arms to go and kill women and children.
And you know my next question would be to substantiate these claims.
But I'm saying This guy was here, his movement was here the other day.
That's in the public
Listen,
domain.
no, I'm asking you. This man has international sanctions against him for genocide.
True.
He has been given a safe haven in Nairobi. He was here forming a government in KICC. That cannot happen without William Ruto. And I want to tell the international community.
But the claims of doing business...
No, everybody knows that he is selling gold through Nairobi. You may pretend not to know, or you may
I'm not pretending. Don't shoot the messenger.
Everybody
here.
knows.
I'm just trying to find out.
Everybody
claims that the president is doing business.
Everybody knows that why William Ruto is having relations with Hemedi through Nairobi is for the gold business. And the gold business, the proceeds are buying arms to butcher children and women. And I want to ask the international community, I want to say I'm available to give evidence. And I want to tell the international community, it is pointless to levy sanctions against Hemedi. The person you need to levy sanctions against is William Ruto.
So he raised this matter, and of course in the whole interview, I didn't see anyone, not even media interrogated, even the president, even the immigration department, no one gave a position statement on this matter. But just 2 months later, there is a story, a report, a confidential report from the United Nations, and that is what is in this headline story. If you look at this story of how Nairobi became entangled in Sudan's bloody proxy civil war. Nairobi is finding itself in that civil war. This is what Rigathi raised. And I just want us to go to maybe find the details of that report. This is what the report is saying. A confidential UN report presented to the Security Council on January 15, 2024, and a separate report released in March by the Sudanese government point to a troubling picture. Kenya airspace and airports are being used as stopovers for cargo flights originating in Abu Dhabi, destined for rapid support forces supply in hubs of eastern Chad. Particularly troubling is, according to media organizations with access to war zone intelligence, that a cargo aircraft bombed in Sudan with a Kenyan pilot on board was carrying suicide drones, ammunition, and a radar system allegedly supplied by the United Arab Emirates for delivery to the RFS. And if you read that story, it continues to say that there are some consignments that are packaged as humanitarian aid, but in real sense, it is not. There is no grain there. There is no salt, there is no sugar, nothing is carried on those cargo consignments except arms, ammunition, and other war equipment. When the former deputy president made this, it didn't take, and we didn't take it very serious. Probably by that time, we were comfortable to say he's tribal, comfortable to say he's this and that. Now, the UN is confirming that allegation. And I invite you to go and look for Standard today. It is their headline story. That story is in their headline. How RFS is, Nairobi, Kenya is being blamed to be supplying RFS. Now, and I want us to look at the second one. When Rigathi was being interviewed just previous weekend, the same interview was talking about PEV, he raised some alarm on illegal activity going on in Karura Forest. And he said that there is a company, that there is a hotel being built inside Karura Forest. And according to him, that forest belonged, that hotel being built there is being built by William Ruto, and he's instructed the Chinese guys who are doing Talanta Stadium to build that hotel there as part of his commission.
There were no approvals, licenses, or public participation in the acquisition of 5 acres of Ngong Road forest land for development of a luxury hotel that has since been suspended by the Kenya Forest Service. The National Environment Management Authority did not authorize the development, which was stopped as there were questions on the project that were not fully answered. The developer of that luxury hotel was today revealed as Kenyan Company Limited, whose owner, Willie Lusige, has since established. Here is his story now.
The investor will not go away.
A few days after KFS suspended the construction of a Porsche luxury hotel inside Ngong Road Forest, more details have surfaced. During a heated public forum, KFS revealed that Kenyan Company Limited won the tender to build 20 luxury cottages after applying in November 2024. The special user license was issued in February 2025, just days after board approval.
If you look at the license, we give a period of 6 months from the time the license is issued. Early entry means that can you start the project as you continue doing these other things. They were given early entry and that's what they started.
Records at the Register of Companies show that Kenyan Company Limited, registered on 8 April 2005, is owned by Beatrice Pauline Cherono Kones and Yvonne Chepkurui Kones, who both have the same address listed as PO Box 27, 511 Nyayo Stadium. Each holds 500 ordinary shares. Other Konya Igeria, whose nationality is listed as Australian, is the company secretary. The swift approvals obtained by the company have raised questions.
We can do anything, but let not them come manipulate our forest because the Act talks about that.
I come from Gado village here. We've been lacking land for even hospitals. Yet someone out of nowhere within less than 1 year is already being told to build a hotel.
It also emerged that NEMA declined to license the project. The environmental impact assessment done by a consultant hired by Kenyan itself was rejected as incomplete and misleading with fake public participation pictures.
No public participation meeting was an equal not mentioned.
I would also take responsibility and say sorry, we did not reach out to you guys, okay?
While KFS claimed the project involved 11 cottages, documents filed with NEMA show plans for 20 tented cottages, a concrete kitchen, reception, yoga deck, restaurant, wellness center, and other permanent structures. The consultant later claimed he advised scaling down to 10 units, yet on site, 11 cottages and concrete buildings are already up, directly defying NEMA's directive to use degradable materials.
That is what Rigathi raised. No one picked it up. In fact, the story did not come up. Wait not for Rigathi to raise it. We wouldn't have known it. Truth be told. We wouldn't have known it. Even now he's talking about bombers that have been sold to some Turkish guy, leased to some Turkish guy. When he's talking about it, we're all quiet, but we know that something is happening. So, he raised questions about the opaque manner on which someone was actually grabbing land in Karura Forest. He said it. We did not take serious. Yesterday there was a public participation. And if you look at the profile, the directors of the company that is building the hotel there, it is an Kale axis. The two directors are two Kones, and one of them from Australia. If you look at this story, there are three things involved, and I want you to look at. I want you to read this story, to listen to this story. It was done by Citizen yesterday. One observation you can strictly make from there. It's either there are three directors. Two are Kenyans, one is Australia. If you are to guess, who is the owner of that hotel? Who is the owner of that company? The two Kalenjin directors there are just proxies. They're not really the real figures there. The real owner could be the Australian guy. And now it has come out with the way approvals were made. No public. They even faked photos of public participation. Even NEMA, there was a risk assessment that was done, and the company took one consultant, their own consultant, without even involving NEMA. So NEMA absolved themselves from it. Now you look at the manner in which that activity is going on. We might not agree with Rigathi that I'm not seeing the contractor, the Talanta Stadium contractor in the picture. So that, we might not agree with him. We don't agree with him on that. But then, the manner of which the project is being done, in fact, the story is not saying who is building. Fine, we're just seeing someone who's given a tender. Who is this person who gave this tender? Is it a government project? The only thing you can remember is the president was in Meru, and he made a statement then that is a policy pronouncement that people should be allowed to build hotels in parks. I'm telling you now. I don't know whether parks also apply to forest or there is a difference. Now, another incident of going after the messenger is Samido. I did tell you that before Samido met Kindiki, last week on Thursday night, Samido penned a suicide note at night, threatening to take his own life. The next morning, of course, that post was deleted. He deleted that post. The next morning, Samido was in Kithure Kindiki's office alongside other artists. But the reason why Samido was the man who was being sought is because of the one term. He did a song in some club, the one term, and did the one term challenge. And because he's a police officer, the government felt uncomfortable. So today the report coming is that he's being transferred from Central Region area to anti-stock theft desk in Gilgil.
They are civil servants and they are subject to regulations, including the regulations governing transfers or redeployment from time to time. So if the oversight coordinator is one of us, then he's subject to those conditions and they might have been redeployed or transferred to the area he's currently. And number two, we have not yet been able to see the.
And the report coming out is he could be on his way out of the police service just because of the internal frustration. The bosses were planning, I don't know, to convene some meeting so that they can come up with some disciplinary action against Samido. And you look at that is also another incident. Whether Samido sings one term or not, does that address the one-term clarion call? Instead of going after people, oh, that person have said, oh, that person have said, does that really arrest? Does that really address that clarion call? Rigathi booked Kasarani for DCP party launch. Shocked last night when a last-minute decision was made by the sports management to deny him the venue, which is a clear sign. It is a predictable, it's a last-minute predictability of state interference with the party affairs is quite there. You cannot rub off that was a clear interference. And I know, predictable, Sakaja guys do not want Rigathi because Rigathi is going to, those who are vying for governorship is going to convert there. Ruto Sako are also uncomfortable about one term in Nairobi. And even Odour party will not want another party to thrive. But I feel instead of going after the messenger, for example, instead of Parliament discussing the whole day attacking Rigathi, they should rather retreat and ask ourselves, fine, yes, Rigathi have said that 2027 was a Christmas, will be a Christmas if election is breaked. It's a precautionary of what can happen. And I like what that MP is saying. We cannot say it can't happen. It can happen. Instead of MPs taking all that time and all doing that, they should have then targeted, oh, what is the sanctity of this election? What is the level of preparedness? We don't even have commissioners as we talk. So that would have been the challenge. And I think we need to, President Ruto and Kenya Kwanza needs to be very tactical on how they address this matter, because this is the truth. There are a number of disgruntled Rigathi loyalists just sitting in government offices to withdraw their salaries, but their mind and soul is out of that government, especially these appointees. They're also seeing those things and they're just there. So these are people who can't talk. It is those people that Rigathi is talking on their behalf. So Rigathi is don't just talk. And I liked what Kiberenge, I hosted Kiberenge in this show. Kiberenge said, Rigathi is talking with facts, figures, and names. Facts, figures, and names. Rigathi is not just talking for the sake of talking. And that has a higher believability. So disgruntled loyalists are the ones talking, and so you cannot just dismiss everything he says. Number two, there are tenderpreneurs speaking through Rigathi. Yes, by that let me tell you, if you see someone releasing a bombshell about government, first probability, he was in that table and then he was edged out. He was in that table, then he was edged out. And personally, I think at this channel, I normally concede that the guy that was in that table and was edged out. So that is one of the reasons why he is also telling us these things. He would not say these things if he was in the government. In fact, if you compare Rigathi and Kindiki, Rigathi was more loyal. Sometimes, if you look at it that way. Now, the other issue is foreign envoys are also looking for vibrant opposition after the downfall of Odinga. After the downfall of Raila, even the foreign powers are looking for those who can speak to the people. And importantly, they're also propping up candidates, those who can also propel the agenda. And I'm not saying Rigathi is that candidate. Public is losing trust on the political class, and soon, I've always been saying, Rigathi is not one of the best around. But Ruto is making some blunders that Rigathi looks a better option compared to him. Thank you.